Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar. My name is Leah, and today I will explore 12 concrete use cases so 12 really concrete ideas of what you can put in place to create unexpected emails for the holidays. Before I start, a little bit of housekeeping. I'll be telling you about Reelevant and who we are and what our solution is if you don't know us yet. And then we'll jump into the use cases right away. So we have use cases for Halloween, Black Friday, and Christmas. Of course, all of the different things that we are going to see today can and should be used all year long if you want to generate as much reactivity as possible. And so they're not at all limited to, those different events. So I was saying my name is Leah, and I am sales manager at Reelevant. To tell you a little bit more about how we came about, we were launched in 2017, and we really came about because we had the observation that consumers were more and more overloaded every day with messages in their email inboxes. What we also observed was that marketers, you guys, were doing a lot of different things to create content that would help them compete in these inboxes. So a lot of efforts, a lot of time, a lot of budgets to create content that we found out was also not performing so well. So 9 out of 10 people don't interact with your messages. That's a big number for us because it's really what prompted us to create our solution. Thinking if you have managed to convince 10 people to open your messages, but 9 out of those 10 don't react to what you're telling them, there's a problem with content. So looking at that problem and trying to investigate why this content that was taking so much effort to create wasn't performing better, and that for all industries together. So here are the 3 pillar problems that we found. The first one is that email, by this definition, is static. What does that mean? Well, even before you send your campaigns, your email is already outdated because the consumers are the ones who are going to choose when they open your messages. That means that it's not going to be up to date. That causes problems such as, well, an offer that's expired, a product that you're displaying that's no longer available, creating a bad experience and losing conversion. But it's also causing problems of context. You're trying the best you can to imagine the context in which your messages are going to be opened, because that matters a lot in whether or not I'm going to actually react and click. But actually, you have no clue and you're not in control of the context of your openers. So all that together is really keeping you from being relevant. Now moving on to the next problem. We tend to create content for campaigns and not for people. The problem with that is we become completely dependent on targeting. So we try to personalize, meaning we segment and we try to imagine content that would, best be suited for such and such groups and subgroups. But unfortunately, if we really wanted to do that, we would have to create so many different contents that is just not possible. So we're limited in personalization by content production, which is not scalable. So once again, this is keeping us from being relevant because we can't produce a level of customization or personalization that's enough to get people to react more. So, and then we say, we say email content is boring, and really no offense to any content, because it's the same for everyone. Everyone is in the same boat. Everyone is stuck in these 10% reactivity rates. And it's also because everyone's on the same page that everything's boring. Meaning, in the inboxes of your openers, you're in competition with all other sectors, all other companies. Unfortunately, you all create content within the same standards, and so everything looks alike. In the email box, consumers feel, and you might feel that too when you open your own emails. Everything looks the same. I've seen that. I've done that. It's not enough. And the more we go and the more competitive it gets, because while people have the same amount of time to read their emails, well, the number of messages are increasing every day. A little bit more bad news before good news. This is really not helped by the fact that we are in an on-demand world, meaning that all other channels, whether it's social media networks, whether it's websites, search engines, everything has become super smart, super personalized. So consumers are used to having extremely personalized experiences everywhere, all the time. They're used to have things on demand. They're used to have things very unique and customed. And unfortunately, email is the only channel which has not changed in the last years. It's been the same for 10, 20 years. So, you know, it's really not helping getting this reaction you're looking for, just because, well, it's just boring. Now, putting ourselves in the shoes of consumers, what's making us react? Well, we all know that we don't react to marketing campaigns, but to emotions. Well, by the way, the best marketing campaigns are always the most emotional ones. So here you have a few elements that, you know, I'm sure are going to resonate about what exactly helps you spark that emotion that makes people react. The first one is, you know, being able to create things that are unexpected, memorable experiences that stand out. Then, of course, you want to be able to level up to those other channels and be able to provide experiences that are real time, all the time, anywhere, anytime. Then, in today's world, you really can't be displaying content that's outdated anymore. That just doesn't work. People are not used to that anymore, and it's an extremely bad experience that is very hurtful for your conversion, but also for your brand image. And finally, you want to make it as unique as possible. People in their inboxes are so used to seeing generic content that the best way to stand out is to tell them about themselves, making sure that you are standing out by showing them you know who they are. Now on to the good news. We created Reelevant around all of those different problems because we wanted to allow marketers to generate more reactivity by sparking emotion. So linking all that to the three main pillar problems that we talked about, we built a solution that allows to leverage all of the data that's available at the moment that consumers open your messages. So that is contextual data, maybe it's localization, weather, stocks and prices in real time, but it can also be behavioral data, my browsing path on your website, for example. It can also be client data, my birthday, my size, the number of loyalty points that I have, things like that. We are leveraging that data to transform it into content that's visual. And so we're doing that in real time at the time of opening, generating millions, even billion of different contents. We can, because we do that automatically, we can produce as far as one individual content for each opener. And then, because we're able to do that, we're also able to make that content intelligent. So because content is being created automatically as people open my messages, I can learn from the behaviors of the first openers to, find out what is working best and to display content that is most effective to the next openers. So that's a great way of, real-time testing your content to make sure that you have the best version of it to be displayed to the next openers without much effort. So now we are going to move on to the use cases. So I was saying we have 3 different holidays. The first one is Halloween, and then we'll move on to Black Friday and Christmas. I will start with this use case that shows you how you can use the context of your opener to stand out in the email inbox of your recipients. So here you can see on the top right that we're using the first name of the opener. We're using also the time of opening, 9:27 p.m. So both of those data are updated in real time at the moment that Samantha opens this email. The idea here, we always say you have a second to make a first impression. Well, that's a really good start. In the middle of the mass of emails that people get every day that are generic, all the same, it really stands out to open an email and see your first name and see that it is the context that you find yourself in. So here we're using the time of opening, but it could be any contextual data that you can imagine. So we can use location, it could be the weather, it could be a lot of different things. The idea here is to grab the attention with something that's not expected and extremely personal. I'll add also that, of course, these are all things that you can customize the way you want. You can see the fonts here in the first name is a Halloween one. The idea is you're going to take the data and you're going to transform it into the visual experience that you want so that it's the most impactful as possible. Now, moving on to the next case. So this is an example of a live polling in your email. So instead of, showing the different product categories here, we are asking people what they most like to do on Halloween night. The live polling is then going to be updated as people vote. I'll vote for body painting, and I'll see that, 22% of people also voted for that choice. Once I vote, not only do I see the votes of others, I'm going to be redirected to a page of my interest. So we can imagine that it's a page where I can buy body paint, or we can imagine that it's a page where I'll find some tutorials on how to make my makeup. What is great about this case is that it does a lot of different things at once. It's very fun and gamifying and interactive. I mean, you don't really get to a more interactive email than to have people actually play in it and have live results. But also, one thing that you can do is you'll be able to get that data back and you'll be able to adjust, to adapt your next message based on the votes of your openers. So let's say I voted for body paint. Maybe the next message that you send me is about what, maybe it can be products that I could buy, or it can be, once again, tutorials on how to do my makeup. A lot of things becomes possible. So we're moving on to Black Friday. We'll find more use cases on Black Friday and on Christmas, because we know that there are bigger holidays. Well, Black Friday is not a holiday, but there are bigger events for you guys. And we really want to give you a full toolbox of things that you can put in place to get your openers to react more. This first case here shows you how you can use the time and date of opening to adapt your content in real time, making sure that what you're displaying in your emails is always up to date. So here, this is one email, and you can see that the top banner has 3 different versions for each day. You have the Black Friday, you have the Saturday and the Monday. So if I open your email on the Friday, I'll have the minus 30% offer. But if I'm one of the 25% of people who actually don't open your emails until a day or 2 later, then instead of landing on an offer that's no longer available, I'll find the Saturday offer. Same thing for Monday. These times are extremely competitive, and you know it as much as I do. It would be extremely deceptive for me to finally open your email on the Saturday and only to find an offer that's expired. You want to maximize your chances. If you've managed to convince me to open your emails, you want to show me something that's on so that I can engage with it and you can convert. This is a case about using the individual browsing history of the opener on your website to display products of his or her interest. So the idea is really to capitalize on the information that you do have to show things that are the most likely to get me to be interested. So here you can see 2 versions. So those would be 2 different openers with different browsing history on your website. So what we can do here with the browsing history is look at whether carts have been left abandoned. And you can also look at product views. If no product views, you can look at categories of product viewed. The idea being to really land on the most precise product possible. So let's say I haven't abandoned any products in my cart. Well, if I've looked at one category, let's say purses, if I've only looked at purses and marketing decided to show me coats in this email, I'm just not going to be interested. And not only it's not going to make me engage this time, but I might also be less likely to open your email after a few times like that, because it's never of my interest. Now, you're showing me things that I was looking for. I have a lot more chances to interact. So this is actually the use case that generates the most results. We are seeing differences such as 3 to 4 times more conversion, and I'm talking about conversion and not reactivity this time. So when you individualize a zone with products instead of displaying products that are chosen by marketing, you are multiplying your conversion by 3 or 4. Which is quite significant. So definitely something you want to look into. This is something else that you can that you can do using the browsing history of the opener. So we have a functionality that allows to compute the best seller product on your website in real time. So this is super useful, once again, to display a product that makes sense. Let's say in the prior case, I actually didn't have any browsing history. It's a great thing to land on instead, because if those 3 products that are bestsellers that are displayed here are getting so much attention on your website, there are a lot of chances that I like them too. Now, you can choose to display as many bestseller products as you want. And you can also manage it the way you want. Let's say that you are trying to push your items on sale. You can make it that we compute the bestsellers within the on sale items. And so on and so forth. You can really make sure that you are in control of what you're showing while still allowing browsing to be more precise. So the same way in the previous use case, we were saying we were using product views or abandoned carts. Well, you can also pair that with a certain type of items so that you're sure that you can still push certain things when you need to. Also, you can see on this email that we're adding the stocks available. That's always a great thing to do. It's creating sometimes a sense of urgency to set it up so that if it's lower in stock, then it shows the number of items available so that it's, urging me to purchase it quicker. And you can also add all of the information that you do have. And I'll jump on this opportunity to say that any data that you have, we can use in real time in your emails. So this is the case for ratings right here. If you have ratings of products on your website, they can be displayed in your emails. Of course, this is also something that you can set up to make sure that, you might want to only show products that have more than 3 stars or 4. This is totally up to you, and you can set it up the way you want. Now, this is a use case that shows you how you can use real time to optimize your content. I'm sure that a lot of you already had this happen, that you have several versions of the same content, or you have 3 different contents, and you're not really sure which one you should send away. So yes, you can do an A/B testing. This is very different from an A/B testing for several reasons, which I will explain. The first one is here. You can already see you have 3 different versions that we are going to test against each other. You can test up to 10 different versions. And when we say versions, it doesn't have to be, in this example, banners. It could also be different visuals, different offers, different products or messages. You can really test anything that you like. So something that makes it extremely different from A/B testing is, well, usually when you're doing your A/B test, you're going to select maybe 25% of your base, and then you're going to send the 2 versions. We know that quite often the most effective version appears quite quickly in the process. So it's really too bad in the case of an A/B testing to be displaying the version that's not the most effective one to a big chunk of the base. Here, not only you can test more different versions, because you're doing it in real time, you are making sure that the maximum amount of openers are seeing the best possible version. So you're making sure that you're putting all the chances on your end to have people react to your messages. Of course, these are things that you're able to track in real time. So in real time within the Reelevant platform, you'll be able to see which one of the versions is performing better, how many people are seeing which versions, etc. Another thing that makes it so much more powerful than A/B testing is that often when you do A/B testing, you're changing more things than just the things that you want to test, and you end up just not knowing what really performed. And here, you're just going to test all of the zones individually. So you're really making sure that you're finding what's working best for you. And also, you don't have to do anything about it because it's all automatized. So no manual intervention needed. It's just going to find what works best and do it for you. Now, I'm sure that you're all familiar with countdown timers. This is an example of a timer that you can create within the platform. What's great about this one is that it's extremely customized. So we always recommend to create a countdown timer that stands out, that's very different from others that you might have seen. But what's really interesting here is making sure that at the end of the time, so when the time goes up, the content is replaced by something else. So many times we see countdown timers that end up being 0, 0, 0, 0, and that's such a deceptive experience for the opener when you can fix that easily. So what we do is once the timer is up, it can either disappear. So for the openers after the time has passed, it would just be something else, or it could just disappear if the email you've built is done that way. I am going to move on to Christmas. And I'll start with this very fun and interactive use case, which is allowing people to build their Christmas wish list inside your email. So it doesn't get more interactive or playful than this in terms of email experience. Here, the email you see is the same one. And what you're going to do is to leverage the customer's browsing to make it a fun activity, an experience. So you're going to tell your openers to go on your website and to put items in their carts, and then to come back to that email. Once they come back to the email, they'll see their items updated in the different product spots that you can see here at the bottom. Not only it's super fun and super gamifying, you can also transfer the list to someone who might be able to give you the gifts of your dreams. It's definitely a way to stand out as a brand, to work on your brand image, because that's something that people will talk about, they'll remember, while still, making some noise about products, because the wish lists are going to be shared, which is going to create, again, more people to click on the items, visit your website, and maybe you want to do this for themselves as well. Now, a completely different way of using the browsing in real time in the emails. So here, instead of having a product approach, which is, I've seen this category of products, then I'll see these types of products in my emails. Here, we're adapting the theme of the email to based on the products that I've seen before. So let's say I have looked at baby products on your website. I'll have the baby banner. So immediately, it's a strong feeling to see that the content that I find is actually one that I can relate to. I'll remember for sure that I went on your website and that I looked at those products. And it's a very personal approach that's definitely, doing a lot better than generic content. Other things that you can do in the same idea is to share articles or tutorials based on your browsing. This is kind of what I was saying earlier with the Halloween theme. You can use it for products, but you can also use it for different content. Now, the holidays are even more than ever a time to create communities. And so this is a great way to actually both be always up to date and grow your community. So here you can integrate an Instagram zone in your email. So the area is going to be updated with the latest Instagram posts every time that someone opens the email. So it's actually a very time-saving, easy way to always be up to date, because most of the time you produce quite a bit of content on Instagram, and here this part of your email is just going to be fueled by those contents that are posted on Instagram. So you really don't have to do anything manually anymore, and you can even decide to have this at the bottom of all of your communications. Maybe if you want to grow your followers on Instagram, you decide to do it this way. It's a great way to just automatize the display of the latest news. Now, use case that is particularly on point these days. Some of you might be out of lockdown by now. And so here, it's a great way of reinsuring customers, taking them back to the stores with the right information, and a little bit of a surprise as they open your emails, only to find a map with the closest store near them and all of the information that they need. So it's a great way of increasing in-store traffic while reinsuring in these weird times. You can, of course, customize the map to make it the way you want it to be, and display display the opening times and all of the information that's necessary. And now this is our very latest feature, actually, being able to launch a video in the email. We said a lot about email being static and boring. We also know that the best way to keep the attention of someone online is by videos. So we're now able to launch videos when people open your messages, which is instantly getting them to take a look at what you have to say. If you want to see an example, you can shoot me an email, and I'll actually send you a video so that you can see how it looks. It's a great way to create experiences. And you can always play around that and mix it with other of the use cases we've seen today to make sure that you create an exceptional experience. So this was it for our use cases for today. It was a pleasure telling you about all of the different things that you can do to stand out. And I hope that you're curious about all of these And if you need to explore furthermore, or if you have any questions, if you have ideas, if you'd like to show me your emails for me to give you recommendations on things that you could do, please don't hesitate to reach out. My email, once again, is leah@reelevant.com. Leah with no H, just Lea, at reelevant.com. Thank you so much for your attention. Don't hesitate to share this webinar with your friends who share this interest for email content. And I'll see you soon. Thank you so much and have a great holiday.